So a client reached out wondering if I could do alterations on her wedding dress that she had bought off the rack. I asked her what exactly she needed. She said the dress fit her fairly well. It was just a little snug and she wanted me to let it out. The sleeves were also a little bit too long on her, so she wanted those shortened, as well as the actual dress was super long and she wanted that shortened as well. So I was like, okay, come in, let's see what's going on, and then we can go from there. So this is her in the dress, absolutely gorgeous. I look at so many wedding dresses, but this is one of my like top dresses. I just love the sweetheart neckline, the lace covering, the style of the skirt. I was in love with this dress. But anyways, this is not about me. I love this dress on her, and for sure the dress was too long. You could see how it's pulling at the bottom. The sleeve, you can see how far the sleeve goes, and so she wanted it to look like the other sleeve on that side. Loved the back detail. For sure, she wanted me to let out the dress just a little so that it could close a little bit better in the back, and just a bustle, simple bustle, so that for the reception she could have the dress out of her way. So I got all the measurements that I needed to be able to do the alterations. You can see the back of the dress, it was closing just it went as far as it could go, but it was a little too tight. So yes, I was going to let out the dress as much as I could so that we could be able to close it. But I took the measurement, sleeve measurement, for where she wanted the sleeve to hit, and I went from there. In this next part, I'm not going to show my face. I'm just going to show the process of everything that I did. So yes. So this is my process of shortening the sleeve. So I start with measuring out the initial measurement that I had done with my bride. So from shoulder to where she wants her sleeve to end. So I measured that out, and I already put a pin or two there so that it guides me and I know where to cut out. So I go ahead and cut out. I'm very meticulous with my measurements, and so I know there's someone screaming, "You're cutting it!" Listen, this is the process that I'm using. If you're a bridal seamstress and you find something else works best for you, you can go ahead and do that. But this is the process that I'm doing. So I cut out the sleeve, and what I'm really going to do is just shift the area that I cut out up. I'm doing this because I don't want to sew all these buttons back on and pretty much just do almost like recreating the buttonholes, button loops, and the buttons again. So I'm using what I already have and just shifting that up and sewing that back on. Now, because I cut out the opening, the sleeve opening, I have to open the sleeve that's left. I have to open that up to match the buttons and the button loops. So that's what I'm doing, seam ripping that, and then I'm just checking to see if I opened up enough. And you can see I'm placing that on. So I'm pretty much working smart and not hard, because it would take so much time for me to take out those loops, put them back in, take out the buttons and put them back in. So I'm like, we already have that piece. Let me just shift it. And so I've pinned it. You can see how I've pinned it back on to the length that she wants it. And so the next thing that I'm going to do is just cut out the mesh and leave the lace motif for the lace applique and sew that down. So you can already see once I start to cut out that mesh part, how it starts to blend in, and you can't even tell. Well, I can tell, you can probably still tell, but look, as I cut out more, you can't even tell that that's a cutout. So I'm just here cleaning up and just following the flower design so that I can be able to sew that down. And you can see, I think I'm done here. And so the next step is to actually sew down those pieces. So again, I'm just making sure my sleeve end is aligned, and then I go ahead and start sewing it. Now you can start from any point. Sometimes I have a hard time just moving pieces around, so I start with the easiest part, sew around there, and then go from there. I'm hand sewing, so I'm not sure if I tried to machine sew this. Maybe some parts, maybe the loops and the button area. I actually machine sewed, but the lace motif and just around the lace area, I hand sewed that. And listen, I thoroughly enjoy hand sewing. There's just certain things that I like to hand sew, and this is one of them. I love pretty lace, and so it's therapeutic for me to hand sew. So just doing that, and it's coming together. It's almost becoming seamless. So I'm done. I did that for both sleeves, and look, you can't even tell that the sleeve was cut. So that was my process. I also added gussets to the side of the dress because the dress was a little snug and she wanted that let out. So I did that. You can't even tell because I used some lace applique to hide that underneath, but that's pretty much the dress. And I also added a 1-point bustle. So she came in for a fitting after I had done the sleeves. She was happy with where the sleeves were hitting. I still left the length of the dress. I was gonna do that, shorten that after we figured out the sleeve length. And every fitting she came with her grandma, and I just loved her grandma. Was so sweet. So they were happy with where the sleeves hit. She came in for a final fitting where I had finally shortened the hemline of the dress, and you can see it hit perfectly on the floor. Also put in the bustle. You can see that smile on her face. She absolutely loved the alterations that I had done. And that is the full back view. You can see that we actually managed to zip it all the way up after I took in or let out the sides of the dress. Beautiful, very happy with the alterations that I did. Now for her last appointment, grandma didn't come. I think she had about three appointments. So grandma didn't come for the last appointment. And I asked her, I was like, where's grandma? And she's like, oh, she couldn't make it today. And usually when brides come, they either come alone or they'll come with mom. And if mom is not in the city, then we'll do like a FaceTime. And so it's just, I mean, it's a special moment. And even on FaceTime, I get tears. Like once the dress is done, I get tears. And so I enjoy those moments. So I wondered why grandma was the one who came and not mom. And so I was like, I'm curious about this. You don't need to answer. Wondering why mom wasn't coming for your fitting appointments. And she was like, no, I don't mind answering. Actually, my mom passed away a few years back during COVID, and my heart broke. My heart broke, and I was like, I'm sorry to hear that. And she was like, it's okay, it's life. But I'm thankful that grandma was here to witness and support me and all of that. So yeah, it was a sad moment, but yeah, like she said, thankful that grandma was able to be there and support her. So this is her on her wedding day. Absolutely beautiful, absolutely beautiful. Loved that I could help her make her day special with the alterations that I did on the dress. Before and after, how did I do?